Acrolinx Get Suggestions and AI Assistant gives your writers access to enterprise-approved generative AI capabilities. Let's see how it works. First, writers use Acrolinx to check content quality in their favorite authoring applications. Acrolinx will then compare your written content against your enterprise's established writing standards and provide a quality score. Issues are presented in the sidebar, where writers can click to fix alignment issues across the content. More complex issues like clarity were often challenging to correct, requiring more effort from the writer. Acrolinx Get Suggestions provides AI-generated content improvements. Acrolinx generates suggestions that are aligned with your enterprise writing standards, which improves content quality fast. Writers receive feedback on several writing standards, such as clarity, terminology, inclusivity, correctness, scannability, consistency, and style. Over 87% of content issues offer clickable guidance, which drastically increases writer efficiency. Writers are able to check content as much as they like to make sure it meets your enterprise standards. Now, let's see the Acrolinx AI Assistant. When writers need help generating new content, they can launch the AI Assistant from their favorite applications for enterprise-approved content generation. Let's say we want to include best practices in our new content. We can ask, what does the Content Marketing Institute say are best practices? The Acrolinx AI Assistant will research your request and provide you with answers. Acrolinx generates content that aligns with your writing standards and scores the content. Writers can quickly copy the generated content, open the content in a new AI Assistant window for comparison, or bookmark the content so they can find it fast later. Writers can prompt the AI Assistant to better customize the content for your writing needs, such as summarization in this example. Then it's easy enough to copy and paste it into your documents. To learn more about Acrolinx, visit acrolinx.com.
Thanks for having us at DITAWORLD. My name is Michael Klemme from Acrolinx, and my colleague Ralf and I, we are going to show you how Acrolinx integrates into DITA content creation process today. So my name is Michael Klemme. I am the Senior Technical Account Manager at Acrolinx. I normally work with our existing customers to help them integrate Acrolinx into their processes and into their technical organization, basically. I've been working in technical documentation for over 20 years and have been with different vendors in that field. My colleague Ralf Kühnlein is going to join later to show you Acrolinx in AM guides. He's the technical partner solutions consultant at Acrolinx, and he's been also a very long time employee of Acrolinx. The specialty is that we want to show you how the AI-powered content governance platform Acrolinx works together with your DITA content. And as you all know, DITA is topic-oriented, and topics are supposed to be self-contained, but in the output, they appear next to each other. So that then has some implications. So shouldn't all the topics that you write use the same technical terms for components, for products, etc.? That's called terminology. Shouldn't they all use the same technical conventions? Something like units and measures, like how you write a verb procedure, don't use passive in verb procedures, for instance. Shouldn't they all use the same tone? Some organizations want to be rather friendly, others want to be rather formal and short in technical documentation. That's taste, and there's reasons for that, but okay, let's see. And after all, the content created needs to be easy to read, because only if the content is clear in writing, your users will be able to use your content efficiently and not make mistakes that may lead to damage or even somebody being hurt. We basically do that by having different steps in the authoring process. We have the so-called sidebar that integrates directly into the workplace, AEM guides in this place, but also in, let's say, Adobe FrameMaker, Adobe InDesign, and other tools. That allows authors to write their content and directly correct all the formal issues like spelling, grammar, style, etc., terminology. We also have tools that tag into the process. So when something is signed off, it'll be automatically scored by Acrolinx, and then the writing manager can make a decision, is this good enough to be released or not? And we'll show that later also. And then this all flows into an analytics database, and that then helps you make decisions about the overall quality of your content, but also gives you input into opportunities to improve Acrolinx even further, like adding more terminology, perhaps activating, deactivating certain guidelines. So this would then lead to an improved cycle. This is not something you do every day, but we certainly suggest that you review your Acrolinx setup, let's say, every couple of months. There's normally many different people writing product content. It's not only the technical documentation people that write product content. There may be support writers or support personnel, etc. They all write content, and it's not that you are alone in the world of content creation. All those kind of teams would best be using something like Acrolinx to control their copy, what they send out to the end customers. And with Acrolinx, you can basically have editorial assistance in all those processes. And we can also have something like a traffic light in the process, as I've been indicating before, that certain content cannot proceed to the next step until it has reached a certain quality level. That's probably accepted in the tech doc arena, that those kind of processes exist. If you have business writers that just write occasionally or need to shoot out content quickly, like support people, the kind of depth of the process may be limited, as we see it here in this diagram. What are the effects of using Acrolinx in all of those processes? The efficiency of the content creation process will be increasing without quality sacrifices. So if, for instance, the original author corrects and can correct most of the formal issues directly, then the reviewer can concentrate on subject matter correctness, and there will be less rounds of review, like ping pong issues being sent from the writer to the reviewer sends it back, etc. So that should reduce the number of review rounds and therefore make your entire content creation process much more efficient. You also can mitigate risk and maintain control of the overall content creation process. So in Acrolinx, you can define your terminology and messaging, and you can then add quality gates to your process, either automatic, as we talked about earlier, or manual, that there are some reviews in the process. And this will lead to less language issues in your content, so terminology will be adhered to, etc. And that will then lead to better content, easier to read content, having less technical issues also. And many organizations have style guides, guidelines how they want to write, but if that's just a piece of PDF or a piece of paper printed out and sitting on the desk, that doesn't help writers really to adhere to that. Acrolinx is like an implementation of the style guide if it comes to linguistic issues, and it gives then the tools to all the writers in your organization to really write content that's in line with the procedures and with the tone that you want to produce. We'll now show you how that is being implemented in Adobe Experience Manager guides. And that's something that my colleague Ralf will do in a moment. So we have, as we said earlier, the sidebar that directly integrates into the Acrolinx process. And we also have the Acrolinx course directly attached to the topics so that you have also a record of the quality. And we also have tools to then see post-publishing how the quality was around there.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ralf Kühnlein, and today I'd like to show you how Acrolinx integrates into AEM guides. So most of our customers are not starting from scratch. So they already have a lot of documents in Adobe AEM guides, a lot of DITA documents with several topics. And we generally recommend to first get an overview of all your content so that you know where to focus with your editing capacities. So I set up here a sample project that you see here. It's a project about, or a DITA map about an oil change on a car. And so let's get an overview first. So I switch here to the Adobe Assets UI, and you see all the content here again. I select all the files that are in that folder or that, and click check for the selected pages with Acrolinx here in the toolbar. So the content now gets checked and scored. You see here is the score column. If I refresh, you see that the status changed to pending. And if I refresh further, you see that the check results are getting shown here. And so now all content is scored. You see some yellow here. You see also green. You see also a number here. And so the Acrolinx score goes from 0 to 100, where the lower part is red, like a traffic light, yellow for content that is starting to get okayish, and green for content that is okay. So green starts at 80, and we usually consider content that is at 80 as good to go. But of course, you can define your own standards, and you can also tweak your digitalization of your content style guide regarding your target market or your target personas. We will see how that works later, and you can have several different targets that you optimize your content for, so that you're able to be very specific for a certain audience or a certain product or something like that. So looking at all these files, where to start? Of course, start with the content that needs the most improvement. And in that case, we look at this document here. It's feasible to pull up an Acrolinx scorecard that's available in all of our integrations. It directly shows an overview over your content. It shows all the issues that Acrolinx found with the different goals, like clarity, like consistency, correctness, inclusive language, tone, words and phrases, and all other goals that you configure for that specific style guide. And so you already get a good overview here, and get also recommendations what you should change. But of course, you want to improve your content. So we switch to the edit mode here in AEM guides. And so you see it's loaded now into the editor. I pull up here in the toolbar the Acrolinx sidebar and check so that I get hands-on guidance on how to improve. And for example, Acrolinx found here a contraction, and that's really kind of how I configured the digitalization of a demo style guide in that case for that. So I configured it in a way that I don't want to have contradictions. Of course, you can also configure it the opposite way around, Acrolinx is there for making your content consistent and being really aligned to how you want to write. So here you see the card that gives to the writers and editors hands-on guidance, what to avoid. You see also why that's the case. You also can click here on further information to get a really detailed description if that is not sufficient here. And in a lot of cases, you also get a suggestion that you can apply with one click. So I'm going to do that now and click here. You see it got automatically replaced. We automatically jump to the next issue that is still in place. And you see also here's the score that you've seen before. I'm gonna check again. And you see it's already improved, but there are still issues in, and I gonna correct that one as well. So you see here, there is an issue that either this word should be plural, or that word needs to be in kind of the one that is for singular words. So you see Acrolinx provided both variants of that, so that I can now decide that it's one vehicle which sits there. I can check again and see that the content got improved. So now that I've changed the content, I can save the content. Of course, there are more issues found here. You see the score improved to 88. And there are more detailed feedback here, like this paragraph is too complex. So I get a lot of guidance how I can improve it by, for example, splitting up the sentences, having too many prepositions in that sentence, and so on and so on. So there are different aspects that all would simplify the content for the readers, so that your content gets understood by your readers. For now, I leave it like that. Of course, you can or in the production environment, you should focus on a bit more. But for the demo, I keep it to that. I save the file. I switch back to my overview here, and I also score here again. And we now see that the score gets updated here as well. And I see that for my entire publication, my content is in a good shape, and I'm ready to good for go for publication. So if you look at the content supply chain, then kind of from authoring, it's covered by pulling up the sidebar, checking your content while you're authoring. If you look at the quality before publishing, we can use that as a quality gate. So before I hit the publish button, I check all my content and ensure that that it's good to go and that no terms are in that I don't want to have in. But of course, if you look at the content supply chain, then you might want to do more, like your content might be in a good shape while you published it, but the outside world could change. Okay, let's have a look how it looks if the outside world changes. So, for example, you see here our digitalization of the style guide for a certain target. So in the Acrolinx UI, it's called target. And you can configure very fine granularly how you want to align your content with your goals. So for example, you can configure how long your sentence should be in different contexts, like if it's in a list item or in a normal sentence or in a title. About, for example, which difficult words you want to avoid or where to allow. You can also be very context specific, so to allow certain things only in certain fields. So, for example, if you have a field that is for further information or something, you can make your language more complex there, or if you look at very easy steps, you can also configure a certain context to be more strict than others. And you can also configure here the difficulty of sentences in range from very simple to complex, and a lot more phenomena. And that's something where Acrolinx comes with good standards, something we recommend. But it's also something that during onboarding with Acrolinx, our services teams will work with you to help you digitalize your content style guide. Also, a couple of our rules, or a lot of our rules, also have the feature to be consistent, for example, within your document. So you can, for example, either select for a title AP style or cucumber style, or you can decide to just be consistent within that document. Of course, if you're in DITA environment, as you're usually working on a topic level, it most makes sense to have one style that you apply for all of your DITA content, so that you're free in assembling and disassembling your content and putting it together how your needs of your publication is. So you see also correctness, inclusive language, and a couple more. In my sample, I'm gonna add now a certain domain. So I pre-prepared a domain called automotive new. So pretending that there's new terminology for our use case. And now Acrolinx asked me for reloading the terminology, so I agreed to that. And I gonna switch back now here to the terminology management of Acrolinx. That's the UI where you can manage Acrolinx terminology. And I created some terms here now. So I said that automobile, car, and vehicle belong together, so they are grouped. You see here, that's check marks that they're grouped together. Those line here represents that they belong together. And automobile is unsuitable, car is preferred term, and vehicle is another unsuitable term. And that's really kind of what could happen to you, or what the daily business, like someone in the company decides that a certain product gets renamed, that the company gets renamed, that you're not allowed to call a certain word or a certain thing like a certain word anymore because due to legal reasons, or other things. Maybe you realize that there's a lot of confusion. For example, here, oil filter range is, I marked as unsuitable and called it tool 7831, just a random name, but to represent that if you have, for example, a lot of customers question what exactly that is, you might be able to specify it very, very detailed, so that there's a lot of clarity in what you write. Acrolinx also, like you see in the brackets here, is capable of checking for fractions of a word. So if you would only need to add car for it, but it would also work with cars. So if there's cars, it would also apply or suggest vehicles in that case. So that's also a very powerful way that saves you a lot of time when dealing with terminology. So going back to the content, I now select all of the stuff here and I hit the Acrolinx button, and I gonna refresh the page, and you see that scores got updated. And you now also see that a lot of those topics that had been green before are now in a yellow state. And I gonna edit it again to see what really changed, or what issues are appearing now. And you see now that, for example, vehicle got flagged, and you also see that vehicles. In that case, it's also found. And you also see that it flags again here. I'm able to tell Acrolinx to replace all recurrences with one click. So once I click here, vehicle is replaced by car, and in all occurrences of that topic. So that makes it very handy to align the content to the updated terminology. And same for oil filter range. I'm able to apply the new suggestion here. I check again, and I see that the score improved again. But Acrolinx found another issue. Now it's a tool and not n tool. So I fix that as well. And now I'm good to go with my content again. So I'm gonna save that, and of course, in real world example, you would go back and also apply these corrections to all other content that needs correction. The last part of this demo is not really inside of AM Guides, but beyond. So what we've seen so far is inside of AM Guides, and these are the DITA topics that you're really editing and where you have direct influence. But once you publish things, topics get resolved, variables get resolved. You might deploy to several different targets, like content delivery platform, like AM, like a web server, whatever. And in those cases, there might be a menu be generated. Maybe there are JavaScript parts that get resolved later. Maybe there's a legal statement that get added to all of your pages. There might be another header or footer that gets added to your pages. And all these things could potentially not be aligned with your enterprise content style guide that we checked so far with kind of the real content. So what Acrolinx offers for that is Acrolinx Content Cube. And Acrolinx Content Cube is part of the Acrolinx Analytics offering. It's capable of scanning an entire public web page. And you see, for example, here, the Acrolinx blog post that I checked. And I select the Acrolinx blog post because there are a couple of special things with that. So it contains, for example, webinars where we do have transcripts of that we cannot change. So people said things and they're there. And even if they don't align with our content style guide anymore, we cannot change it. There are blog posts about certain phenomena, and we need to phrase those phenomena. Otherwise, we cannot talk about them. So we need to keep them on that page. And so it's a very good place to kind of demonstrate how you get insights into your content. Of course, you would apply that to your technical content that you published, and that helps you really dive into your content and identify the content on the documents that you need to focus on. A lot of our customers start focusing on a certain aspect. So they might have an inclusivity initiative. And so you see here the different goals. And I like to use inclusive language in that case to demonstrate. What you see here is the Acrolinx score. So you see all the content is either green or yellow-ish on that blog post, so it's not as bad. But if we look at certain aspects, for example, inclusive language, then you already see that there are a couple of red documents. And I still would have a tough time to get all through those documents, and I would like to have more guidance where to start. So, and that's where actual performance data comes into the picture. So Content Cube is able to connect to analytics platforms, for example, Adobe Analytics. And so I can pull in, for example, the page views. And that's what I'm going to do here. And now you see, okay, it's a good thing. The documents that get accessed frequently, they are green. But if you look here, there's a red one that is bigger than others. And so that's for inclusive language and page hits. So I select that as some candidate or content that I would like to improve. So I can jump into that. I see here also the inclusive language is not as bad. So we set very high goals here. So you see even with the 93, it's shown red here. That's configurable for that view. And you also see here with all aspects of the content, how it performs. So ideally, of course, it would be all blue in that case. But you see, for example, there's clarity, a bit of correctness, a bit and tone. And but in that demo, I like to focus on inclusive language. And you can see here, for example, directly that what are the issues. And you see, for example, that phrase was used, and in general, it should be used, that phrase or that suggestion that Acrolinx provides. You can also get further guidance on these guidelines within Acrolinx. And you also have a link here to jump to the actual content that is live out there so that you see how the issues are in the real world. And here you already see kind of that the content that got flagged here really talks about the issues and how you should avoid them and what you should do instead. So that's also the reason why these inclusive language issues are out there on the Acrolinx website. Of course, we are actually addressing them and talking about them, how to avoid them and how to improve the content of your document. And that's also something that people would learn out of the usage of Acrolinx by getting trained through the sidebar and improve their own writing. Looking at the data, there's also a lot more that you can do out of that. So if you think about all AI topics that are out there where you want to use your content for any AI purpose, like training an LLM, like using that content to automatically answer customer questions, you really want to avoid that bad content goes into your AI system and is repeated and shown to the users again. So especially if you think about inclusive language, that would be probably something that is really could be very harmful for people. And so you want to strictly avoid that, but you also want to make sure that your AI provides output that is aligned with your content style guide. And that's where Acrolinx helps by identifying that content. And you can use the Acrolinx score as an indicator for good content or content that you need to improve. And there's also another AI offering that Acrolinx has in current development, and that's something Michael will talk about in a minute. Thank you very much. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Ralf, for showing us Acrolinx in AEM guides. There's something that we've just been adding to our product, or are in the process of adding to our product at the very moment, and that I would like to explain last in our presentation. So that's basically generative AI in Acrolinx. Acrolinx has always been an AI system. We've been around natural language processing for 22 years. We've been adding machine learning as an addition some years ago, but now generative AI offers us additional possibilities that we are going to use. So we can, with generative AI, offer rewrites of complex sentences or suggestions how to change those sentences. And that's going to be a major game changer, I think, for many writers, since those are very difficult to fix for them. Generative AI is being talked about a lot, but many people have concerns, and that's about the confidentiality of the data being processed. We are using a private infrastructure, so this is not just some public tool where your data is being used for training of the generic models, for instance. The data ownership is therefore clearly defined. It's your data, not somebody else's data. And we're using a future-proof infrastructure that will allow us also to grow this service over time. Let me give you a short demo of that. So that's another editing tool that's well known. You see basically the sidebar. It looks quite similar here compared to the one that you saw in the tool that Ralf has been showing. Let me make this a bit larger perhaps. And there are the sidebar cards that you also saw before. What we're going to add now is basically this Get Suggestions button. This will take the sentence that's been highlighted, send it over to the large language model and ask for a rewrite. The large language model then sends back a sentence that's in line with all the guidelines defined for this target group, and the writer can directly replace the sentence from here. There's another one here. So Acrolinx has found out that this sentence over 400-bit lines is difficult to read. And that's what we all have been doing for years. It's difficult to read because it's a long sentence, because there are prepositions, because there's a parenthesis inside, and there's a noun cluster also. But now the writer would have had to rewrite this sentence into something more readable, and that's something that's very difficult to do. And here again, the AI model receives the sentence and it then sends back a suggestion on how to replace this. You can also ask for another suggestion if you like. So if you don't like the sentence here. So this is something that you can then also iterate over and see a couple of suggestions of the system. We think that this is a major improvement of the system because now fixing those complex linguistic things are quite easy to do. Thanks for being with us today. I hope that we could share some insight into Acrolinx and how to use it best. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact Ralf or myself. You see our email address here, or visit our corporate website for more information. Thanks a lot.